funny. We started off talking about a little bit of finance, and it's kind of like it looks like the artwork is like a finance themed podcast.
I guess it's like a very sad accountant. I don't know what he's doing, and there's like a tape
It's
coming
tax
out.
season, and he's overwhelmed.
That's what it is. Actually, that's very good.
Yeah,
That was the first name of the pod, Taxi, and it just couldn't fit.
yeah. No, it didn't because you're
The
like, well, I'm not
Instagram
going to
was
talk
taken.
about tax, anyways.
No.
That's cool artwork.
Do you know Ramin Nazer? He's a comedian and also like a really cool artist guy, Rainbow Brain Skull.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I maybe I don't want to say I don't, because God forbid if I did meet him, then I sound.
Yeah.
I think that's my major flaw.
That you just blow people off.
I just go, oh, hey, nice to meet you, and I'll.
Yeah.
But then again, I've been in that. I've been on the other situation, been like, oh, I met the guy like 6 times, and then
Yeah.
if it happens more than 3 times, then you're like, fuck this guy.
Yeah. It does.
And I hope I've never done it to someone 3 times.
But it happens, like, and I get it, like, especially like, because the more famous you get, I get why famous people don't remember people, because they're just like, yeah, nice
All
to
the
meet you. They're
time.
just trying to be nice,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
it's a blur.
Yeah.
Or like sometimes I see someone, I'm like, I know your face, but when did we meet? What's your name? I'm sorry.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, listen, if it's not someone that you see regularly every day or someone that you talk to,
Yeah.
I mean, listen, there's a lot of comedians or people I see every day, and I don't know their names, but I know them all. I'm gonna go, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
But I've never hung out with them.
Right.
If we've never sat down and shared a meal or coffee or I mean, I would say even if I've like we were on the same show and we were in a green room and we hit it and we chatted,
Yeah.
I would never forget that.
Right.
Like I might forget the conversation, but I would be like, no, I've definitely been in a circle where we've talked before.
Yeah.
But if it's just, hey, what's up? Nice to meet you, and then you're just there and we don't talk,
right.
that's not, you can't.
And do
get
you
mad
correct
at someone.
them? Because I was talking to Paige at the Improv yesterday, and she's like, "Nice to meet you." I was like, "Oh yeah, we've met," but I like.
Well, it's hard because you got to pick and choose. Like that's
Sorry, I gotta help you here.
It's no, it's all right.
You're good.
Someone's always got to help me. That's my life. I think it's different with. It depends who you're talking about. A person of power, a person of.
Yeah, I never know.
A person where there's people all day trying to get in front of her face.
Right.
So,
well, someone introduced me to her. She said, "Nice to meet you," and I said, "Oh, we met at Dynasty because I helped Jamie kind of in the starting phase."
oh, cool.
Just to be like, "Oh, hey." I was like, "Oh, your hair is different color, looks good, whatever." And you're
Yeah.
You're just trying to like
No, just to make them go, oh yeah,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with
No,
that.
I think it's okay. You just kind of like but I get it. Like at the Comedy Bunker, I usually do the door too because I'm doing a million things and I need help. But people are like, "Hey, good to see you again." And,
of
and this is
course.
audience, so I'm like, I don't know
have
all
no
your
idea.
names.
Yeah.
So I just say, "Oh, what's your last name again?" when I check them in, and then I see the first name and nice to see you.
And your whole thing is you're worried about the comedians anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah. But when you walked in, we were talking about mortgages and houses.
Yeah.
This is good. Usually we start at the end with goals, but we'll start up front with a goal with you. You want to own a house.
Yeah, well, isn't that everybody's goal in life? Has anyone out there like, no, I want to rent my whole life?
I guess if you have
Yes.
the choice. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody wants to own. I think one of the hardest things you could possibly do in LA outside of stand-up is own a home. How about this? I should say in a certain radius of LA.
Right. Yeah, because
Okay,
you can go to Pacoima.
Yeah, I could go to deep Burbank.
Yeah.
And like have a place, but like I would be lonely.
You'd
And
be
it's a
lonely,
desert.
and it's also like the energy of like what you do. Like you're a comedian, you want to be at all the clubs. You get a spot, you want to be able to bounce around.
Studio City is the best spot to live in.
Oh, you think?
I think in all of show business.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if you could live in Beverly Hills,
Right.
not in the Beverly Hills, like right off of Santa Monica, but like maybe hidden Beverly Hills.
Yeah, they call that the slums.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Like
the flat part of Beverly Hills is called the slums.
Which those houses, by the way, are $5 to $10 million houses.
Easy.
You know what I mean? I don't know who are these people.
Yeah.
Who's buying these houses? I didn't even know there's that many rich people in the world.
Oh, LA is mental rich.
It's
You just drive
crazy.
around the cars, like
It's not even in LA, like Orange County, everywhere.
Yeah.
On the way to San Diego, you're just looking at $1 million homes for 3-4 hours.
Did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yes.
I love that part in the movie when he's like, you got to own in Hollywood because then you're part of it. They can't kick you out of town.
That's awesome.
And then the end of the movie he sells the house.
I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah.
Wow. That was like a big joke for the whole movie.
It was a big joke.
And it went over my head because I'm more like, wait, what's going on? What? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've also seen it like 3 times. So.
Oh, well. Yeah, I think that's what I think that you're supposed to watch movies twice.
Yeah, they say if it's a good movie if it's worth watching once, it's worth watching twice. So that makes sense.
Nice. Who says this? The gods?
Peoples. I don't know.
People?
The people.
Well, you know more about showbiz than I did. You've been in it a long time.
You've been in it quite a while too.
Almost 10 years.
Okay, I'm like.
But you've been in different aspects of it.
Yeah, it's true. I've been bounced around. Yeah.
So yeah. How long have you lived in LA?
12 years.
12 years. And then okay.
How about you?
Almost 10. I started out here.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's the end of the podcast.
Yeah. Good night, guys. That's all we have to talk about.
No. So
you're gonna own a house. That's a good goal.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal.
Right. And so what?
But if I never did, would I look back on life and be like, I failed? No. That would be really sad though to think if I never did. That means I never really. It doesn't mean I didn't reach my goals artistically. It just means that for whatever reason, the business did not pay me for my talents.
Or you bought a Ferrari, or you did other things.
I mean, I'm not the best with money, but I wouldn't. I think I'm just like, let's.
Why do you say you're not the best?
I've made a lot of financial mistakes in my 20s. And, I think I got out of credit card debt for the first time like 2 years ago.
Oh, that's a big one. You can't save money if you're paying 12 to 20% interest.
So I got out of that.
Congratulations. Big step.
Pretty much debt is gone. I mean, I have some student loan stuff, but I don't even think about that. It's on autopilot.
What do you do for savings right now?
I keep it in my bank account until I don't have to use it.
But like, do you say like, I make $1,000, I'm going to save 100 or?
I'm not I can't save because there's slow seasons and there's like, even when there's times when I'm like, I have so much money.
Right.
I'll have like a lot of money and then it will fizzle out. And it's like, my habits don't change.
Right.
My habits are, I think when you're around my age, maybe a little bit older, but he looks way younger than me. But not to like call you out on this podcast. He's older, by the way.
Yeah.
When you
I think we look about the same age.
Yeah. But you're definitely older. I think I remember that.
I'm probably 3 or 4 years older.
Yeah. So fine. Thank you. It's more of a compliment to you.
No, I'm saying you look. I'm trying to compliment you back. You look great.
I know.
Yeah.
But I think that in your 30s you get to a routine and you're just like, this is all I need.
Right.
Like my vice is like I like to just, I don't cook at all. I like to eat out every meal. Like I like to wake up, I go get a coffee. I sometimes don't eat breakfast. If I do, I do. Go on gym, lunch, dinner, all is out. Like I like that's what I enjoy.
Yeah.
I like sitting, even if I'm alone. I like going somewhere, eating, and then just sitting there. Like that's
fun. You gotta get out of the house.
That fulfills me.
Yeah.
So that's not, you don't have to be rich to do that.
No, but you need disposable income.
Yes, it's pricey, but it's not, anyone can do that. Because that's all I spend. So rent, food, and then, I don't do a lot of trips, but if I have an idea, I can. But I usually, if I do like a vacation or a trip, I get anxious if it's too long because I want to be doing this. I want to be in this grind, this fucking this I'm addicted to it.
You're addicted, and also because you're on the road so much.
That's like a vacation.
It's a mini vacation, and you don't feel the need to get on a plane.
No.
Like everyone I know, he's a comedian or touring DJ, touring musicians. It's like when they're home, they don't like leave their home, or they like being in town.
That's the part of it. Yeah. So it's like when you do have time off, I don't want to travel.
Right.
I want to be here.
It's a good habit to develop, maybe, to like turn off your brain now and be like, I'm going to go somewhere that's nice, that's not city, where you don't get tempted to do a spot or like figure out who's in town.
I think I've done it. Like, it's funny. Like last year I did a trip to Amsterdam, and even then I was like, how do I get up? And I got up.
You found
I found a way to get up.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't go away from me. Maybe it will one day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm content in a way where I'm happy how things are going, and I got past that eager stage of my career where you want everything. You're like, how do I get this? How do I get that?
Right. How do I get everything now?
How do I get everything?
Yeah.
And that is like, there's things I want and maybe I won't get. And there's things that I'm like, oh, that would be fun, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, if it happens, great. If not, I get to do stand up right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have to work at a bar.
Yeah, but it's good to have things you want to achieve and goals. And there's always this elusive thing in Hollywood where they dangle some new thing that you want in front of you.
You can't help it.
And you've already had big ones, like you were JFL, right?
2017.
2007.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big. You're on tour with one of the biggest comedians in the world.
You think it's big, and then once you do it, you're like, okay, so that's just another thing.
Yeah.
I think everybody will tell you that. If they've done it, they'll just be like, cool.
Yeah.
And then on to the, you know what it does? You get little wins like that.
Right.
To make you realize that nothing matters. And I think that happens throughout your whole career. And I think people tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's some things like a special.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. But like, even like bigger guys will be like, once you always want the next thing.
Right.
It never goes away. That never goes away.
Yeah.
So then if you can realize that never goes away, then you just got to sit back and just be like, well, I just got to enjoy this then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then you'll drive yourself crazy.
Totally. It's like getting married because you're like, I'm always going to look at other women. That's not going to stop. But can I just stop?
That's crazy.
Understand that this is never going to go away. But I'm happy and going to be faithful and all those things.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? Because when you're younger, I think you think that goes away.
Yeah, and
you
doesn't.
don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the best advice I got before I got married from my best man. He's like, listen, that's never going to go away. And just be cool with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to know. So it never goes away.
No, you're always going to be like,
but
someone's going to walk.
That's the same for females.
Of course.
Probably
it's just
like,
humans. You look at attractive people are always going to be around. And just be okay with that. You can't kiss all the girls is the end of it.
You could try to.
I mean, you can try.
yeah.
Like, I've been trying. Yeah. But so when you get the money and it's sitting in your bank, is it just in your regular banking account? Do you have a high interest?
For now. Do I have a high interest?
Like a high interest savings account?
No, I don't. I used to have a savings account, and it was like with Bank of America, and it was it was like less than 1%. I was like, well,
what's the point of this?
If I have to pay, what am I like? I'm not at a point where I'm like putting thousands of dollars in it every week. Where I'm like, I'm like, why do I have another account that there's like, there has to be a minimum amount in it and stuff like that. So I was like, why am I messing with that until I get to a point where I'm like, I'm saving money.
Right.
I have a steady income, and in comedy to have a steady income, you have to be some sort of a name. I don't think you have to be necessarily famous, but you have to get to a point where I feel like I'm close, but a point where you like, I can book weekends 20 times a year.
Right.
Like that. I could hit up an agent and be like, I want to do 20 weekends this year. Here are the cities. What cities did we do in last year? Let's do different cities this year. And every 2 years, hit this,
you
go
have a
back to the
touring
market.
plan. Yeah.
I think that's a good structure. I think that's pretty much for like comedians. I think you hit cities once every 2 years. And then maybe you should have something polished and work on new stuff every 2 years.
Right. Then release it as a
release
special.
it. If you can't release it, then move on from it or do whatever you want with it.
Right.
But every 2 years, go back to that city with a different, at least a different half hour.
Right.
You know, maybe 15's fine, but like, you know,
it's got to be different enough where they don't come out and they're like, all right.
Well, because that's how you build an audience. When you're touring, you want to go back to the city every 2 years. From what I've learned through my experience of touring with someone,
right?
So that's what it is. You go to a market once every 2 years, and I mean sometimes if it's a big market, you'll go to you could go to New York once a year, and then but it's such a big market. New York, LA, Chicago,
right,
Dallas, Miami, but like other markets once every 2 years, and then you hope to have at least a new half hour so that when people come, they're not like, oh, I've already seen it. They're excited. And that's how you build the audience. If you had to build it through no TV shit, the old fashioned,
you're building it through stand up.
Yeah. They're like, oh, remember it's word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's the long hallway, but like, that's what it is.
Yeah. Cause we're all starting like little fires. We're like, let's try to get on TV. Let's do a special. Let's tour. And then something happens and then they all kind of like pull each other up, but you just try to be everywhere and hope for the best.
Yeah. But then when you realize, you're like, okay, now it's like I have to bring content to these people.
Yeah.
And I have to if I've done some one-nighters now.
Yeah.
So I know that I've done that beginning of this year. So if I get to do weekends there or one-nighters, and even if they give me one in fall or something, I better hope I have a new 25 to 30 minutes for them. You know, otherwise I'm like, let's wait till 2021 before I do those cities again.
Right.
Even if only 20 people are coming, who cares?
Right.
You know, hopefully you have a different audience and then it doesn't matter.
Mm.
But I think if you're doing one night, it doesn't matter. But if you're a guy when you start doing weekends and you're doing 6 sold out shows, that's 1,000 people, and then you come back to that city a year later, at least have a half hour. Because what if 500 of those 1,000 people come back and bring a new 500 people?
Exactly.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah, because when you go to other cities and doing spots, you go to New York for a week and you're doing spots. It's different because you're never going to see the same people
But
again.
nobody's buying your ticket.
Right.
You're doing spots on shows.
So when you're at the level where you're doing your own tour, like it's a totally different calculation.
Yeah, probably a little bit. Yeah. I mean, some people don't, but I mean, some people just. But you know, maybe I don't know. You know, maybe people don't go back to see you right away. They just told people they've seen you.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, through my experience of being on the road, I've run into people and they're like, "Hey, yeah, we've seen you the last 3 years with Chris."
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I'm like, "Oh, that's crazy." And I'm like, "Was it different?" And like sometimes it's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they have, because like I don't have much pressure on me to change a 20-minute set.
Mm-hmm.
At least every year, at least 10 of it's gonna be new.
Right. Just natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Progression of it. So yeah.
That's great. So what we need to do for your savings account is definitely put it in a high interest one. And there's no minimums. There's one. I use the Capital One, but there's one from Ally Bank and all that stuff. And it's around 2%.
Mm-hmm.
So like, just like we were talking about comedy, is like small wins. Like saving over the long term is small wins.
Yeah.
It's not hard to get rich over time. The hardest thing is like, I want to be rich tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if you're constantly stocking away some money and that's getting interest and the interest on interest, it's like it feeds on itself the same way your career does in comedy, where you're like, I'm going to get this and then I'm going to work hard and I'm going to write new jokes and I'm going to get on tour. And then all of a sudden you're at this place.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to do that, all that comedy stuff tomorrow, you'd be like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Same way if I want to be a millionaire tomorrow, well, you better go rob a bank or something.
Gotcha.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So we get you those, and then that'll be like the first step.
So why can I open up a savings account through my bank?
Well, you should just online to one of the. I'll send you a couple links.
Okay.
And it just.
We can't do it right now here.
I mean, that would be pretty boring.
No, I know, but okay. Well, I was kind of joking.
Yeah, yeah.
But it would be funny if I was just like, wow, I came here to do a podcast and I literally opened up a savings account. And then I can...
That would be fun. Do we get a sponsor?
Do I distribute... It could be something, you know. Do I distribute money into it as I please? Or do you set it up in auto?
You can do either. So if you get a lump sum of... I just got a windfall for some tour. You can dump a bunch in there. I just have an automatic little amount that just goes every month. And it's like a cell phone bill. You don't... You just forget about it. At the end of the year, you're like, oh, I have this little pile here. Yeah. And it's been earning money for me.
I think the reason I did have a savings account is there would be times where I'm like, I have to take from it.
Yeah, but it's okay. There's no penalties. This is just a basic, it's the same as like having one with your bank. It probably takes like 3 days to get the money back and forth.
Oh, because it's not through your bank.
No, it just goes from your bank to like another bank.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And today you could do everything on your phone.
You can do it on your phone. It's all good. I'll help you get that house in the hills.
And I promise I'll have it set up before 4 p.m.
I love it. Because you're a guy who gets shit done.
Because, well, I'm like, why not? Like, it's just like, it sounds like it's stupid. And it's like now I haven't had to like pull and be like, oh man, things are really slow.
Yeah.
I got to pull from it. So I do have money just sitting in a checking account.
What do you do when you're in town? So you're on the road a lot.
Yeah.
Do you come back in town and you just hit people up for spots?
Well,
and you just...
yeah. Well, I have like my regular spots at Laugh Factory. Yeah. I don't hit people up as much as I should probably. I just felt like I remember when I was starting out, you would because you're like, how do I get on stage? I just want to get on front of a good show. And then I got to a point where I was like, well, if they want me, they'll ask.
Yeah.
And then I think about, I was like, well, it's hard to get to a point of where they want you on your show. There's very few people that are at a level where they're like, we want him. But then I'm like, well, there's people they can't get.
Yeah.
But then, so can I be in the pile of people that they can get that they would want?
Oh, that's a good...
You know what I mean?
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good way to position yourself.
So I feel like I'll analyze things like that. And I feel like I'm close to that because I do get hit up.
Right.
Like, I got off stage at Laugh Factory on Friday. Yeah. And I had a kid came, he's like, can you check your DMs? I got a show. I want you to do it, please.
Oh,
like,
oh,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, that took me fucking 10 years to get to that point.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where I'm like, now I can just go do these sidebar shows that I used to sit around for hours at.
Right.
And be like, hey man, I come every week. Can I go up? And then I go up and I do 5 minutes or 8 minutes and I do okay.
Yeah.
So then it's like there's no incentive for them to put me back on again.
Right.
So I got to wait another 6 months before I hound them again.
Yeah, yeah. You have this rotating thing in town of like, I can do this one every 3 months, this one every 6. And it's that's what's so good about being into the clubs is that you can get a guaranteed audience and guaranteed amount of spots.
Yeah. It's great to like, I know I'm at the point where I know I'll have at least 3 spots a week.
Perfect.
I'm not gonna ever if there ever is something in the schedule for some odd reason where I think I'm gonna have 3 days, I don't want to take 3 days off.
No,
I'm fine if I go 2 days without it, but I don't like it, but it's fine, especially if it's coming off of like I just did some big shows or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But if it's gonna be 3, I have spots I can go to. Like I know I can go to I'll like I'm like, okay, let me just get this for my fix. Sure.
Yeah, stand on stage in front of people.
And then like just like let me riff some ideas that I can just get away with here. Or like I could go to like Long Beach. There's earlier in the week's a little harder.
Right.
But I have a Sunday in my head. If I really think I have a Sunday spot, a Monday spot, and a Tuesday spot. So those 3 slow days.
Mm-hmm.
But I know Wednesday through Saturday, I can get somewhere up in the clubs. And at the very least, I could even go to the Improv and like try to wiggle on something.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
So that's fine. But now it's fun to also do like the other day. I don't know when I got hit up, but I did this show at the Standard, the Super Dope Show or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's fun to do rooms like this because it's like, how is it gonna be? And then it's also fun to like see the younger comics of like this is everything to them. I'm like, wow, like I don't give a fuck about this show. You know what I mean?
Oh, this one show is everything to them.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow. Like I remember thinking that too. Like, I gotta fucking kill this room.
Yeah, because this is my one show this week or this month or whatever.
And I was just like, okay. And then like, so that was cool. And then like getting hit up to do those other shows. And stuff. And
it is hard when you're booking a show because you're like, I have to make. First of all, show has to be good, and in an ideal universe, that is just people who are funny. Yeah.
Well, I think first of all, if you have a show, the number one thing is how do I get butts in the seats?
Right.
Okay. And then and a lot of the time to get butts in the seats, you need some names.
Right. Especially when the show is new.
Yes. So that I always tell people like, I guess younger people, I was like, you can't take anything personal.
Right.
It's just like, man, this guy, they want to help people out, but their number one priority, the only way they get to do show number 2 is if show number 1 has butts in the seats.
Right.
Who cares? Even if you have great comics on it, if there's no one there, nobody's going to talk about it. Nobody's going to want to do it.
Right.
And then you're just sad.
Yeah.
There's nothing that made me more sad than when I ran a show and there was like very little people. In the audience. It's one of the most depressing things of stand up. It would to me that was worse than when I bombed. And that's why I stopped.
Worse.
That's why I stopped doing shows. Like, I'll never produce a show again. I'll never produce a goddamn fucking show again. I was just like, I'd rather not get up. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna be a comic who tries to get on shows. And like I tried running shows at the Laugh Factory, the Improv, the Comedy Store, Belly Room. I did bar shows when I first started.
Yeah.
And I was just like, at the end of the day, which you have to do. I don't think you have to do it, but I think it's the smart way to do it. If you start off in comedy and you're in LA or New York and you're new to it, start a bar show. It doesn't have to be great because you're not going to get the great people, but you meet everyone. You meet your community and you learn how to get on other shows. But if you're in a club, it's hard. It's always hard to fucking produce a good show. And it was just like,
it teaches you the other side of it too, so that you take things less personally. Like, okay, I understand how this works,
Yeah.
But it does also like there's a certain power in being a comedian who doesn't do shows.
Sure.
So it's like these two trajectories, because at a certain point you can just be a
comedian,
or you can just be a producer who is a comedian.
Sure, you don't want to be that.
You don't want to be that.
You don't want to be that.
If your goal is to be a comedian, you don't want to be that.
And I don't think you have that. Just in case you were worried.
Oh no, I don't think I was.
You knew you didn't.
Well, I think I'm actively. I see an end game to producing shows. At some point, I won't do it. I enjoy doing
it. You
can
grandfather it to somebody.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have a monthly at the Improv.
Yeah.
I have a monthly at the West Side, I think. And we haven't got a new date yet.
Yeah.
But and then the Comedy Bunker.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that's crazy that you have 3. I didn't even know you had 3. I knew you had the Comedy Bunker and I knew you had the West Side thing, but I didn't know if that was ongoing or you were trying it.
We've done 3, but then they kind of changed. We had to reapply basically. So hopefully we get it West Side. But yeah, it was a good one. It was Tight 5 where everyone does like 10 minutes of new material, then comes back out, puts on a blazer and does like a Tight 5.
Yeah,
so it's like a way of saying like, hey, here's my new stuff, but also, hey, crowd, I can really do this.
Yeah.
So it gives comedians like best of both worlds.
Yeah. So, but that's like to have 3 shows. I don't like. Yeah, I think it's hard to come across as like not a producer, but you don't. And I'm being honest with it. If you were, I would tell you. I'd be like, oh.
You're treading too far this way.
There's guys, like there's guys out there that like, and I think, for instance, like Sam Tripoli has a very big popular show at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
He's a comic. I don't think everyone looks at him as a booker.
No, he's definitely.
All comedy bookers do comedy.
Right.
I don't think I've actually
or even if they don't, they end up.
Well, yeah, they're hosting it or something.
Yeah.
Like even the guy, why am I forgetting his name? I'm blanking right now. Who runs the Harvell's in Long Beach? Like he'll like host it a little bit. He doesn't really do stand up, so he's a booker, but he kind of dabbles in it. But
that's
like,
a good show.
Yeah, sometimes it's fun. It's different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like I don't know if I'm gonna have a good set.
Right.
I like going in that environment.
Yeah.
The Bunker's not like that. The Bunker's like, oh, this is gonna be a good show.
Always.
So
it's a good skill to learn, I think, to good production, because like little things matter. There's like, oh, like people are talking back room, try to like calm that down. There's like the lights, the focus, the music, like
or making
the sound,
making the young comics feel like, hey, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Jay was good at that. He was always like, thanks for coming. Hey, thanks for coming. I'll get you on. Thanks for coming. I'll get you on. Say it to everyone. I remember he used to say, I like you got to have the young comics hanging out there hoping to get up.
Right.
You want to create that energy.
Yeah.
You want that. I'm like, oh, interesting.
That is good. I try to be cool. Like, I'm definitely not like, it only has to be people with this credit or this draw. I just have to manage it. Like one person can be brand new.
Sure.
These guys are absolutely funny, but might not be a draw. And these 2 people will be shocked that they even came to this weird basement.
Sure.
That's usually like the plan.
But it's also interesting too. Is like you'll learn like some guys like will like you give them an inch.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, when can I do it again? And you're like, hey, man, you got to learn. Like,
I've had it like you just did it last week.
I mean, I could name the comic who did it to you. It's just so funny. It's just like, I mean, dude, there's comics who are like, who've been doing it over 10 years who do that. And I'm like, hey, man, that's your problem. That's a big flaw you have. Like, you don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, let that, like, these people are getting hit up all the time.
Yeah.
And if you're not in the position to be like, hey, I want to come do your show. And they're like, yeah, I would love you to. If you're not that comic, you just got to like, I would say let it rest every 6 months, depending on, how often the show is too. If it's a monthly or a weekly.
Yeah.
If it's a weekly, maybe every 3-4 months, you could be like, yo, I would like to do it again.
Right. Yeah.
If you did well.
You
gotta be.
I mean, that's like, some people don't know if they did well or not.
That's true.
Those are the people hitting you up more often.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Some people don't.
But a lot of it's like having a good attitude, like playing the long game. Like the long game is like, be cool. Don't be annoying.
Yeah.
Don't like, because all these things is compound interest over time. Like we have a long career. It doesn't seem like it now today when you have no spots this week and you're freaking out or whatever. But like if you're cool over the long run, and you can probably attest to this, like that's a good tip to be becoming a feature and like asking you to go on the road and like just be a good guy to be around.
Yeah, I mean, the road thing is, I think, for instance, some guys are like, when it comes to local stuff, like the best way is to host first.
Yeah.
Always be a good host. People like that. But I think to go on the road with a comedian, people are bringing their friends.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what that is. And it doesn't mean if someone's opening for someone, I would say it doesn't necessarily mean they're a very good comic.
Right.
You know? They still have to work their ass off. So,
or they become a good comic through the opportunity.
They could become a good comic.
Yeah.
It depends how hard. Because there's guys over the years I knew that opened for big guys, but I never saw them.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do they do? They're That's all they do.
The life in show business can be crazy because like if at some point you have to say, like, just like how you said earlier, like, I'm not going to hit people up for spots. I'm going to wait for them to call me.
Sure.
At some point you have to be like, I'm not this, I'm that.
Yeah.
I'm not a feature, I'm a headliner.
Yeah.
And like some people just don't do that.
Yeah.
They just say, oh, I'm cool here. This is where it stops for me.
That's
whether they think about it or not, it happens.
Yeah, that blows my mind. I just don't understand how, like, do you not want to be, I guess it's okay if you don't want to be a headliner and be great.
Right.
I guess I can't get mad at you for that.
It's also not his, it's not his problem.
Not his problem. But, you know, like Chris is very good at that. Like the people he uses, he's always like, you know, like Craig or me.
Yeah.
We fucking grind. Like,
yeah.
Dude, I did Carnegie Hall, but I also did Oyster Room on Monday. I don't give a fuck. Like I'm always going to do that. If I didn't have a spot, like until I can go show up and they're like, do you want to go up?
Yeah.
Yes. Until I get to that point, I'm always going to do all these rooms.
Yeah.
Until I can walk into a room wherever I go and they're like, do you want to go up? And I'm like, yeah, because I want to go up every single day.
Right. So, Chris bigged you up one time talking about how he was really impressed with you, that you went to like, you would leave the row with him.
Who did?
Chris. On some podcast, he was talking about you. He's like, oh, Mike, he's the best. He's like, this is what you got to do. You got to go, come back and go do whatever you can. And he's like, he appreciated your hustle. Yeah,
you have to. You can't get stuck doing good shows.
No.
Then you got to humble yourself.
Right. Yeah.
Then you think you're amazing. I gotta sneeze, I think.
Yeah. I love a bad show sometimes.
Me too.
The Oyster Bar, like we talk about it a lot. It's not a bad show. It's just like you have to know what it is.
Yeah.
And be cool with that.
You have to, which is like, I think I even said something on Monday. I said something at the end. I go, guys, if you're coming up here, you got to know what, I was like, just give 60, 70%. You won't feel as bad when you get off.
Exactly,
like, you know what I mean? I was like, this is what it is. You know what I mean? Like,
the best meltdowns are Oyster House meltdowns. Oh my God. Like turning on the audience. Like, I can't believe you're not laughing. We had seen it all. Oh my God. It's the best.
What do you think this is? The best room in the world? It's 90% comedians.
Yeah.
It's basically a fancier open mic.
Yeah. It's like open mic plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly
you can tell people you're doing a show, but it's kind of like it's
an open mic with a fucking photographer. That's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, Mike doesn't like it to be called an open mic because then you know what that happens, and you have like another 15 people.
No, I know it's not an open mic, Mike. I'm sorry, I don't mean it like that, but like it's you know what I mean. It's funny to like, oh, I got some shots from the Oyster Bar room.
Sometimes I do an open mic before the Oyster Bar, and I do better at the open mic than the Oyster Bar.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes there's like happy hour people in there or something. Like there was a group this past Monday that left, but whatever.
That was a tough one because they stopped serving food and then the show got better. I think food distracts from the show.
Oh yeah, you were telling me that.
So like when people have food, they have to turn and like engage with that, and it creates more. There was a lot of talking.
Yeah.
I was talking. You know Dave Waite?
No.
He run.
Is he there? Was he there?
No, he's a comedian. He's at the he's one of the door guys at the Comedy Store, but also like a really great comedian.
Oh, if I saw his face, then
I'm sure you would know his face. And then he runs the barbershop comedy show with a bunch of other guys.
That's cool.
And they do it like that night at the bar. I was like, how come everyone at this bar is focused? I mean, this is insane. No one's talking at this huge bar.
It's a bar.
It's a bar show with a stage.
I thought you said a barber shop.
Oh, sorry. I should back up. So it's a barbershop in front and like a secret bar behind the barbershop.
Oh, and where's this, in Hollywood?
It's in Culver City. It's really great. Like Chappelle's dropped in and stuff. It's it's a really good room.
Wow.
But I was like shocked. I was like, how is everyone paying attention in this bar show? He's like, oh, well, we don't let people in that night who don't watch the show. And I was like, that is so smart.
We don't let people in that night.
So basically, if you haven't RSVP'd to come to the bar, they have an agreement with the bar that night. So if you can't just walk in and come unless you're on the invite list.
Oh, got you.
And I was like, that's a great way. Like if you build a show at a bar and can switch it to that setup, like that's just such a better show.
Yeah, for sure.
Because then people are still drinking, but they know what they're here for.
Yeah.
Because it's hard when you go to, even us, like you go to a bar with your friend and someone starts doing stand up or playing the guitar, you're like, ugh.
Yeah, I would leave.
Yeah, you would leave.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So you can't follow people.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of the problem is not knowing that there's a show there. Yeah, that's awful. But you would hope most of the time if you had a bar show, they know.
Or you turn them around and it ends up being cool.
Yeah, but I mean, Oysters, it's a little different. It's not the best setup. It's long.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just like
too long or too wide. I don't like a wide rim too, like flat, and you got to turn all the time.
Oh yeah, there's some that are like that on the road, and then but there's some are great. But I remember years ago. I don't know if it's still like or on Ontario. That's all I think.
Improv.
Yeah, I think that's a wide room. I haven't done it for a long time, but there are some stages that are like that.
Yeah.
Gotham is like that in New York.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
It's a little long, but it's not
overly long.
It's not overly.
No.
That side's shorter. The right side is a little longer.
Yeah.
But
like Ice House Pasadena, the B room is wide. That's a wide room.
The small. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. It's funny because sometimes you'll be on stage and I'll think, oh my God, I'm neglecting the left side of the room.
Yeah.
I'll think about that like wherever I am. And in other venues, like you walk up, you're like, what's this? And I'm like, have I been neglecting them? Do they think that? Like you don't even know. It's
or in the lab when you're like all of a sudden you see there's 8 people like immediately to your right.
You're
like, oh, you've been here the whole time.
Sorry, my bad. Yeah.
What are some of the tips you'd give for like new features on the road? Because you're a pretty experienced feature.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, like probably one of the most experienced.
The most? Yeah. It's kind of like, hey, get out of that. No.
Don't be good at it. That's actually an interesting thing because like a lot of times in like the music studio or in things, it's like when there's 2 paths up. Be so good that they want you around.
Yeah.
Or be okay enough where they promote you out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Like a good hang, not good at the job, but
part of it is like if you also feature for someone who just keeps getting on more and more famous, you're just well, I don't want to leave this. It's like it's a money train that also it's like people, look who features for Rogan.
Yeah.
Headliners.
Yeah.
So that's just like that's the game. We're getting to a point in comedy where there's these guys who are doing arenas and these huge things like. You have to get lucky to even hope that even happens in your own career.
Right.
I think it's attainable for everybody to become a club act and get in the club circuit. Like, I mean, if you just don't quit and you do comedy and you work hard for 20 years, you'll be touring, doing clubs. Maybe you're not going to be rich, but like you can make a living.
You'll have fans. You'll have
fans. You can make a living. You know what I mean? The rest of it takes a little bit of a luck, you know what I mean, to get into these bigger things. But as a feature, it's just like, I mean, part of it, like, I don't think there's a lot of comedians that consistently bring the same feature as much as Chris did with me. But I mean, some people do. And I think part of it is we were best friends. Part of it was the hang. Yeah. But there was also a thing.
So you were friends before?
Yeah. Well, I met him through comedy and then we became good friends. And then like I used to host when I first started, like 2013, I started hosting for him locally, like Irvine, San Diego, Arizona, a couple times San Francisco.
So his shows, like a Chris D'Elia night, you would be the host?
And then the feature would be like Brent Morin or sometimes Jason Collins or even, Fahim Anwar. Yeah. Like this is when he was doing clubs. Right. And I can't go on for 20 at that time. I would have said I could, but it wasn't going to be good. And then by like 2015, he started letting me feature here and there. But there was a point when Brent started headlining because he got Undateable with Chris. Yeah. So Chris didn't really have a feature. He would bring me on the road as a host, and we'd use a local feature. Oh, okay. So that was cool. So that's how like whatever we did, our work thing became good. Like we were friends. Yeah. But I still did like even though he's my friend, and we would still argue sometimes here and there. Right. Over the years I learned what to argue with him about. Yeah. I also learned that like he's also a boss. He's my boss too, so I can be like "fuck you," but then I also have to bite my lip sometimes and do it. Like, I would do the things, and I think a big part of it is like I was like, how do I make myself valuable to him? You know what I mean? And not only that, because it's like anyone could do better, but I was like, first of all, I have to keep coming up with new material because I wanted to try to keep up with him. Right? He's prolific. He's got new he's got fucking a new hour like that. So I'm like. And I remember after a while, I was like, well, I didn't get anything. So I just put 20 minutes on YouTube. That was a couple of years ago. But like, I was like, I want to be able to write as fast. Like I got to keep writing. So I learned that part from him. But also like, we didn't really sell a lot of merch in the beginning. Like he would sell some shirts. It would just be like, here, get whatever you can, sell shirts. But then I kind of built like a store. I built this store. Like I had an iPad. I built a store on the on Square. And then he had his merch, and then I started coming up with merch, and then we made signs, and then next thing I know, I have a table, and it gradually, man, I wish I could tell you what we were doing in 2015 and 16, as opposed to today. We have 4 away bags that we're traveling with. We have a sign. We have a store. Now we even have my buddy. He sells it now. I don't have to sell it. My buddy Zach, he'll come on the road. But we built this
empire,
this store that was ultimately over the last from 2018 to today, grossed over $500,000.
Oh my God.
Of merch.
Yeah.
Like on the road.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
That's adding value.
Yeah. So it's like I literally created this fucking store.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously it's people wanting the demand to buy his merch.
Yeah, he's driving demand, but you're driving
like
execution.
The way we did it, like it was just like it's fast, it's quick, it's a money machine.
Yeah,
it's almost like and now like I brought my buddy Zach in. He was like, you build this, make this even bigger, because when this guy does arenas, you're gonna have 5 stores
at least.
Not there's times when we've had 2 stores in a big theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So in those small towns, like people almost get disappointed when you don't have merch.
Yeah, I mean, dude,
they want something. It's like they want to leave with something and support, and
it's a whole thing. You got to understand, if you go to a comedy show, especially if you're going to a theater show, tickets are $40. You're going with your date or your wife or your husband. That's $80 in tickets.
Yeah,
you're getting drinks. You're spending at least $150 just on the show.
Yeah,
what's another $20 on a t-shirt?
Right, especially if it's a cool show. Sure. Yeah.
What's another 20? So $20 is nothing.
Yeah,
$30 is nothing for a piece of merch to be like, this night was epic. Because also, if you're a married couple and you live in San Antonio, how many comedy shows are you going to in your life? Less than 10.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's a memory forever. So
that one time we went to saw comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even, you know what I mean? Like, so, and it's funny because now I feel like I'm contradicting myself. Of earlier in the podcast, I was like, you want to go back to the market.
Yeah.
And you want to have a new half hour because you don't know if they're going to come back. Are people coming back? But like, eventually people get too old. They're like, no, I'll watch it on TV. Someone in their 45, like sometimes maybe they will.
Yeah.
You're getting different people because of word of mouth, or you're getting bigger. But like, you know, unless you're in your 20s, are you coming to multiple shows? But then those people get old enough and grow out of it too. I think that's why it's important that you have to grow as a human too.
Yeah, it's a journey. It's kind of like that happens in music a lot when an album is successful and then they go back and make like the 1.1 version of the same album. Yeah. And you're like, that's cool, but did you grow? Is it really your authentic voice? And the people who make look at Kanye making bold choices every time.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. He's pretty incredible, but I still would even say with him, and I think with all rappers, I should say, because that's the most knowledgeable I am with music.
Yeah.
Can anyone top their first album or second album? I've never. I can't pick one rapper. Maybe Jay-Z is the only one.
Yeah, I was gonna say
who
Jay-Z.
I've said one of his best albums is like number 5 or 6.
Blueprint.
Like Blueprint.
Yeah.
Even the Black album was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of like great ones that weren't his, but everyone else across the board, for me, it's like their album number 2. For some reason, album like Eminent Marshall Mathers LP, call it Late Registration or College Dropout for Kanye. I mean, regardless of what he's done, those are so great. The Carter 2, the Carter 1, like for Lil Wayne. Like,
well, it's like it's so much more emotional first album. It's like you'll never get away from that feeling of like the newness.
Yeah.
But if he just did College Dropout 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Sure, it wouldn't be as good.
And then, but I'm sure people when he made like 808s and Heartbreaks and like what's the one where like I'm a God or whatever, people were like, "There's no singles on this. Like, what are you doing? We want big records." And he's like, he said it even. He's like, "You don't think I can make a radio record at this point in my career?" He's like, "This is what I want to do."
Awesome.
And people follow you.
That's
and
awesome.
maybe it didn't have the same sales or whatever, but industries change. But also, look like, how big he is. Look how much more iconic he is.
Yeah.
For doing bold choices.
Would you put Kanye in your top 5 rappers, or would you say he's one of your top 5 music artists? Like for me, and when I've talked about this with other people, you have a top 5 and it's like MCs, and like Kanye he's different. He's like music. He's like the Beatles. It's like what he is you can't put him in your top 5 rappers.
He's a hybrid because he's a producer.
He makes music. Yeah. His music, what he did is like he's top 5 in the way he made music, but he's not a top 5 rapper.
No.
Yeah.
But he's a top 5 of discography. And if this might be, I'm a huge Jay-Z fan, but on the Watch the Throne, there were times when Kanye had the best verse.
Oh, for sure. I don't think he's not a good rapper.
Yeah.
I just think that's how I have to explain it to people, because it's like, because when you do your top 5, every person, whoever it is across the board, you have to have one of the 2 dead guys on there,
right?
Biggie or Tupac, whoever you choose. All right, you can have both. A lot of people do have both.
Yeah,
but you have to have one.
But we're the last generation that will say that.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
that next
crazy.
generation's like, who are these people? Like,
well, I think they'll still know Tupac.
Yeah,
he's pretty iconic.
Right.
Biggie is, but he's not as iconic as Tupac because of what Tupac like. I don't know. He just was around a little bit longer,
and he had quantity. Biggie was quality. Tupac was quantity.
Yeah, if Biggie survived, we would have been like, it would have been unbelievable.
We think. We don't know. It could have been sad.
He would have lit. I mean, part of it. I met a great rapper one time, and he said part of the reason he's like, we never got to see Biggie grow into what he would have become.
Right.
He's like, but like regardless, they wouldn't have been able to hang with people like Kendrick and Cole. Because the way music evolves, they grow into it at the right time.
Yeah.
So you can never be. You can be a great MC that influenced.
Yeah.
But like today, it's Kendrick and Cole. Tomorrow, it'll be whoever and whoever.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't deny that because that's what's going on right now. Like even. If Jay-Z came out, it's not as gonna be as
would
good.
Jay be Jay with Big was still around? Because like he kind of took Big's throne a little bit as King of New York.
If he still worked hard.
Yeah.
But like you can't even if Jay and Kanye come out with something, Kendrick and Cole are the kings of the game right now.
Yeah, because they're the voice of the generation.
Yes,
and they're just these guys are just I mean, rap is a young person's game. It just always is. And like that you see people who are like 3 years older than you, like, that's my guy.
It's weird because we also never thought music always evolved or changed genres, but like rap was huge in the 90s and now it's pop music.
Yeah.
So it is so big. So now that it's weird to like, man, like if there's a pop star that like sang, people fade out. I guess like who went on, bands would go late into their careers because they're playing instruments and stuff,
and they tour. Rap live is usually not great.
No,
relative to a rock
show. Good
show.
shows, yes.
There can be a good rap show. Kanye does a good show.
I've always heard about that. Never went.
Yeah,
I went to a J. Cole one, and that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Nas does a good show when he does Damian Marley. Wiz actually does it. Wiz Khalifa does a great show. He's really good. But by and large, it's like a lot of walking back and forth and like some other guys on stage.
Just hype, man. But it's weird to think about some of these rappers in their 50s now.
Yeah, is Jay-Z in his 50s?
He's got to be because Eminem is 48.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
He looks good though.
Yeah. He's 48 and he's the best at rap that he's ever been at, but it's just not the same. Like the way he can do it.
Yeah.
He's never been able to do it better.
Right.
But it's not the same, but it's still good. I like his last album, and Kamikaze to me is in my top. I mean, what is he at? 8 or 9, maybe 10 albums. Is one of his top albums for me.
Right.
It's in his top 5, and that is at the later end of his career.
Yeah, and I think he was late 20s when he made it, so to speak.
20s. Well, I mean, I guess he broke in 98. So if he was 82, 92.
So 22 years ago.
He's like 28. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's Hollywood loves the young person making it. Even in comedy, like everyone loves he's 19, he's not even allowed in the club. Look how funny he is.
Well, here I think part of that is because they're like, let's bet on this.
Yeah.
Because when he's for instance comedy, you see that happen a lot. It's like, why wouldn't you bet on Taylor Tomlinson?
Right.
If she can write great, she's a good writer, and she's a good writer at 21.
Yeah.
This is when I met her, she was 20, right?
Yeah.
I think she's like 24, 25 now. But if she can write a joke at 20, imagine what fucking she's gonna do at 30.
Yeah.
Imagine when she's put 10 years in this game, imagine what she's gonna be. It's like, why would you not? Also, she's smart, she's chill.
Yeah.
There's no liabilities here.
Right,
she's not like a drug user who's like off the wall. It's like, why would you not like, oh, I'll put thousands of dollars into this and bet that this is gonna be a name in the business.
And she's an interesting one too, because she could almost be a wide variety of ages because she carries herself as such a like professional.
She's an old soul,
like she says. So, but there's also like the guys like young rappers getting shot and they're like not even 21.
Oh, it's like that's got to be in the back of their head of like, don't fuck up. I mean, I don't know. I think that these guys get so much money, they're having fun, they're not thinking, and they're like, that would. It's like anyone else.
Yeah.
We don't think we're gonna die. We don't think we could get in a car. That's not gonna happen to me.
Right, but that's
I'm not
probably
gonna
the
get
highest,
in a car accident.
Yeah, right.
They're probably thinking the same thing, being like stupid and silly. Like, I mean, the XXTion, how do I say his name? XX.
Yeah, he's dead, right?
Yeah, he was just like his was like a sad one. It was just like kind of he was getting robbed.
Yeah, yeah.
That one's kind of crazy. He was just probably like, I think he was posting on social media that he had this cash, and then he got shot, and it's just like, well, that's kind of sad because it didn't seem like he was a gangbanger. I think some of these guys are acting.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas
there's always an element with it in music, even outside of hip hop. It was kind of an industry that has like a certain amount of that element always through, with the radio thing and like just kind of like a very cash based. And then like you need it's not less now. You can just make your own album at home. Like what's her face?
SoundCloud
rappers. Even Billie Eilish, I think, recorded with her brother in her house and stuff.
Oh, really?
But before, you needed like someone to give you a bunch of cash, and that cash sometimes came from.
That's true. Like you could make it in your apartment.
Like honestly, like we could fire up that keyboard, and if you could rap, we would have an album done, by lunch.
That's unbelievable. That's the one thing I wish I was good at. I wish I was good at freestyle. Yeah,
well,
it's fascinating to watch.
It's kind of like, even with Roast Battle, it's kind of like it's a freestyle rap, but without the timing and without like the off the top of the head.
But dude, I think that rappers would more like admire someone who's really good at freestyling.
Yeah,
as opposed to Roast Battle.
I don't think a rapper looks at Roast Battle and says that was dope.
No, I don't. Because I don't think a lot of comedians look at Roast Battle and go, "Oh, that's so." I think that's I don't think that's. I mean, dude, I sit around at a diner and we bust each other's balls all day.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's if someone's great at it.
Yeah.
I think every single great comedian right now could do that like that.
Right.
So easily. Like Bill Burr he could go do it right now and be the best at it.
Yeah.
The hard part of comedy is creating a bit.
Yeah.
And then creating a routine. That a routine is the hardest thing, like a themed routine. Like that, which is what comedy is. There's very few guys that are one-liners that are just can do that. That's not a style really anymore.
Right.
So everybody has a routine that's themed. Like, hey, I'm this. I have a kid, and being married, and you know what I mean. Like that's the beauty of the art. Is like you're creating an album almost, right? An hour. You're creating an hour that's like that flows,
builds,
kind of like a rap album.
Yeah. Like
it's all themed. They're like Kamikaze. I'm only saying this because I'm a big fan, but like his whole thing was like, fuck you guys. You guys think like I'm old and I can't do shit. Now watch here. I'll get mad and this is what I can do. That was the whole theme of it. So it's like same with comedy. So it's like that's the beauty of like a masterpiece of like an artist who's painting something. It's like he drew like beautiful trees right there. But like that's not what the painting is. It's the whole thing is like it's a national park that he was fucking painting. I don't know if that's a great analogy. But you know what I mean? Like that's so fucking hard.
It is.
Because first of all, to build a beautiful routine, you know how many reps you have to do of an hour?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you know how hard it is to get into clubs that will let you do an hour.
Right.
That took me 10 years to do.
Yeah.
So now that I'm out loud, so now I'm learning how to do an hour. Mm-hmm. How long is this going to take me to learn?
Right.
So I've done an hour 6, 7, 8 times.
Yeah.
I can't wait to do it 1,000 times. Because it's like I'm learning something new. I don't know how to like make it smooth and not like the minute you do that, that's when you're a fucking comedian.
Absolutely. That's even what Jerry Seinfeld says in the documentary Comedian. He's like, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, that's not comedy. An hour 20, that's comedy.
Yeah. And you don't get the opportunity to learn how to do that though. You have to earn that right. You have to let them open the gates. So like that shit's hard. Going up, and I'm not hating that show went successful. Roast Battle, that was great.
Yeah.
It worked. But I remember we would always, me and other comedians would talk about some of these guys put all their weight on this. They're like, oh, I want to be a roast. It's like that's like a fucking a guy who's playing baseball and he's like he knows how to bunt.
Yeah.
He's good at bunting, but like that's all he wants to do now. Now he's only bunting.
Yeah.
Hey man, you got to fucking hit the ball
or
too.
a rapper who's just doing street battles.
Yeah. You don't have like you're that's a skill set.
Yeah.
But that's not a comedian.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you gotta do that on the side for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but also be like who's the one kid? He was always he was good at roast battle, but he's a comedian. The good looking white guy. I think he's in New York now. Kind of like fuck, what's his name? He's a really witty writer.
I know Frank Castillo was really good at it. I think Jesus Trejo was really good at it.
Well, all right, Jesus.
Yeah.
But there's this guy who's really good at it. He puts his Facebook statuses up. They always kill. He's really witty. Know. But he was really good at it. Yeah. But he also like was a comedian.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He was that first. It's always there's a danger like
you don't want to be known as I did roast battle.
Right.
Or okay, well let me see you do 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Just 15. I'm not even asking you to do an hour. Yeah. Do a 15-minute set. Is it just going to be you talking about inside jokes with another guy, or are you going to build an art?
Where your slashes in Hollywood is important too. Like, are you actor/comedian? Because that's different from comedian/actor.
Sure.
And so it's like roast battler/comedian is different.
Yeah.
One thing roast battle did what was really great is it's a very dope show and it's spectacle.
Sure.
In a way that a regular comedy show isn't. Like the guy's jumping up, he's yelling, Coach T's hitting sound effects.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
it became a thing.
It's a thing. And so as an audience member, it's like, whoa, this is exciting.
Yeah. Of course. That's why it became a thing.
Right.
Yeah, you can appreciate that. I appreciate that.
What are your top 5 rappers?
Top 5 rappers? Okay. In no particular order.
Yeah.
Eminem is there.
Okay.
Here's another we were going to talk about. I was like, I guess you have to put Jay-Z in there. Everybody has.
You don't have to. I don't think so. I don't think you have to.
If you met a guy in his 30s and he didn't put Jay-Z in his top 5, you would look at him a little bit differently. Would you not?
I would. But I would understand him. I would understand who he is. I know people who don't put Jay in their top 5.
You would be like,
unfriend them, but I know them.
Yeah, but would you be like, oh well, he doesn't know rap as well as I do? That's what you would say. You would say that in your head.
No, I wouldn't. I would just be like, he doesn't like that kind of thing.
I mean, there's no way.
If you don't put Biggie, Jay-Z, or Nas, one of those 3, then I have a problem.
Well, Nas is 100% in my top. He's one of my favorite. I just loved his flow, man.
Yeah, Illmatic is. You could argue that's the best rap album of all time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny, man. I always like Nas. There's people in their 20s that don't know who he is.
Well, they think he's the guy, the cowboy guy.
It's so annoying. Like, but it's weird because he's got something coming out.
But you know what he doesn't have is discography. That's what Jay-Z really got him when they were battling. Was like, you have one album was the other was Illmatic. That's one hot album every 10-year average.
Wow.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah. Ugh.
But I mean, listen, like that's like what for instance, like, all right, when I met Eminem, that one of the things we talked about was top 5 and stuff like that. And he's like, Jay-Z's always been up here. Everything he makes, it's done good. He's like, even I've gone like this.
Yeah.
He goes, but Jay-Z ain't the top 5 MCs. Like, he's like, he explained the guy from Naughty by Nature.
Tretch?
He said he's the greatest MC of all time. And he influenced even people like Tupac.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, he influenced people, but he was ahead of his time and people couldn't fuck with that flow.
Yeah.
But he's like, Jay-Z's going to make the best music. He's going to make the best music. But if you put Tretch and him in the room, he's going to kill him. That's what he's saying.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, for me,
a little inside info.
Yeah, that is
what he was saying. Because we talked about MCs and shit. And it's just like, yeah. It was just like, but Jay-Z's always like, but even the way he was saying it was with respect, like Jay-Z is one of the best. Right. For sure. He looks at Jay-Z as one of the best ever too.
Interesting.
He also, obviously, Redman is one of his
I love Redman.
That's one of his best. Now, Redman's not going to be in anyone's top 5.
Right.
But he is one of Eminem's biggest influences. He explained that if... it's funny how much I remember from that day.
The silliness too, like where Eminem would have like a silly song, and
he said that Redman one time rapped staple gun with ATM machine and it blew his mind. He was like, oh, you don't have to actually have words that rhyme, you just have to make it sound like it rhymes.
Right.
And he was explaining, he goes,
now everyone
that changed my life.
Yeah.
And that's what Eminem does the best.
Yeah.
That's his skill, is he can rhyme these lines that don't even rhyme.
Yeah. Because
of the way his cadence is.
Right.
And then that's what kind of made him so famous.
Yeah.
Was like he's not, and he's also not rhyming the last word
Exactly.
with the last word. He's rhyming the first.
Right.
He's rhyming the whole sentence with the whole sentence, or the first. You know what I mean? So that's what he was amazing. And this is all the shit we talked about.
Yeah.
I get chills even thinking about it, because I'm like, the fact that we got, like, once we were sitting there meeting him and asking questions, like once we started asking about his writing and shit, I was like, fuck yeah. And then talking about like Redman and Trench. I remember we were talking about it, and I didn't want to say anything, but I had no idea who he was talking about.
Okay.
But after we left, I was like, so who's he talking about? And I listened to Naughty, and then I've heard Naughty by Nature's music. Yeah. But I was like, oh, so this is the guy he was talking about. But it was like, I imagine if I was like, wait, who? And then he was like, what? I was like, no,
get him out of here.
Yeah.
Right. But they also had like, for what at the time Naughty by Nature had the cheesier hip hop, hooray, ho.
Sure.
But the verses in between that song are great, and he's obviously super talented, but like just like life choices at that time, like if you got a little too pop, people kind of like dismissed you a bit, but they were huge.
Wow.
Like their songs were massive.
Yeah. So then he brought that up, and I was like, oh wow. Yeah. So that, and obviously Run DMC was one of his influences.
Okay.
I mean, I think he says that in songs and stuff, but Nas 100% is in my top 5.
Okay, we got Nas.
That's a matter of fact. Eminem is a matter of fact.
Okay, we got 2.
And then I would put Jay-Z just because, and he's never been my favorite.
Yeah.
I've always liked Nas and Eminem better than him, but he has so much music that I'm like, oh, this was dope. This is dope. This is dope. Like he just, you have to, because it's like, it would be like, it's almost like he's the, like he's the Chappelle.
He's the blueprint. Like,
yeah.
He changed the way he made it into a business, and he also different flows, different, like he was a trendsetter for like year on year, like the hottest shit.
Yeah.
So
he's for sure.
Okay.
And then now here's where it gets interesting. Like, oh fuck, man, it's so weird because like, you can't put newer guys in the top 5. You know what I mean? Like you can't, but I love, and if they keep going, J. Cole's in my top 5 if he keeps going.
Okay.
But I can't put him in the top 5. You know what I mean?
It's too early.
You can't put Kendrick or him in the top 5. You can't. You just physically can't, because they haven't been around long enough. It's like saying like you can't put like
But people were putting Eminem in the top 5 like 1 or 2 albums in at that time.
But at that time, rap is what, 20 years old. Rap is now 40 years old.
Wow.
So it's like you're talking about Eminem came in the scene 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That was 99 when he broke.
Yeah.
So 99, that's 20 years ago. J. Cole and Kendrick came around 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's you can't yet. And it's almost like, and then here's the thing with the top 5 too, is like I want to put Kanye in, but I want to put him in a different category, kind of like Kanye goes in with the greatest musicians ever. He's in there with the Beatles.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
He has the
Kanye.
most Grammys of anyone.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
But if that makes sense, so like if I'm doing top 5 rap, and then I do top 5, I have Michael Jackson, I have the Beatles, and then I have Kanye. He's in that category.
So top 5 artists. Yeah.
Just
artists, musicians.
He's there.
Yeah.
He's there. But I can't put him in the top 5 MC. I want to love his music. I like his music better than Jay-Z.
Would you put him in top 10?
Yeah. I like his music better than Jay-Z, but I have to, out of respect for rap, because I love rap, put Jay-Z in the top 5. Eminem's there, Nas is there, and then it's just like it's same thing with the Biggie Tupac. I'm a Biggie guy.
Yeah,
I've always been a Biggie guy.
I'm a Biggie guy too. Yeah,
I loved his flow.
Yeah,
and so for me, it's just like, well, then I have to put him in there.
Right.
But I don't want to use my top 5 with Tupac because I like Tupac.
Yeah.
But I don't identify with it, man. There's songs like I'm just like I get his music is just like.
It's more of a vibe than like a MC.
Yeah, like Biggie's was just like, man, this flow, like just the way they were able to make another album of the same album but on different beats, like like that. Like you can't necessarily do that with Tupac as easy as you could with Biggie.
No, I get it.
It was just like
there's a clear divide. It's like it's like Coke and Pepsi. You just like one or the other.
Ready to Die to me was like fucking dope. But this is, dude, I love talking about this shit. I get so excited about it because like then you have top 5 MCs.
Yeah.
Then you have top 5 albums, which is totally separate.
Different. Yeah.
Oh, I have to put Lil Wayne
in top 5 MCs.
I just have to put Lil Wayne.
Okay, so you only got one spot left.
I did Biggie, Lil Wayne.
Okay.
Nas, Eminem. So and then Jay-Z.
Oh wow!
So I have to.
That's a solid 5. This is a fan. This is a hip hop fan.
I have to have Lil Wayne in there because, like, dude, he
also changed the game too.
His music is
without
so
Lil Wayne.
good.
There's no Drake.
Nice. Drake is with Kanye over there.
Yeah.
With music. Like
exactly.
And at the end of the day, like this guy has nobody. I mean, he's the Michael Jackson of rap.
Nobody can touch Drake.
He's he's the Michael Jackson of rap. He'll never be in anyone's top 5, but he'll be one of the biggest musicians of all time. Like everybody, he like.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? But like top 5 albums, dude, I'll fucking blow your mind with that. You'll be like, really? I'm like, yes, this album was great. Obviously, Illmatic.
Illmatic, okay.
But like, Get Rich or Die Trying. It was one of the greatest albums.
Like the first 5 songs on it are good.
Oh, for you?
Yeah.
I love the whole album.
It has a vibe in the same way that like Illmatic, the first time you put it on, you're like, what is this? This is different.
He was the guy you were like, this guy's gonna be one of the best. And then what the fuck? He just was like, he lost interest. He's like, I'm gonna make money other ways. It's so weird.
Well, it's like you choose your direction, your path, and there's also a lot of pressure. You come off a huge album, you want to do big songs, and apparently,
second album was fine too. It wasn't bad. His third album dipped off.
I think, the story I heard is he was so hot, he just gave the game 2 songs that were supposed to be on his album.
How We Do,
and
which, by the way, another album I would put maybe. I mean, dude, the game's first album could be in the top 10 albums.
It was like a supercut producer. Timbaland was on it. Everyone was
unbelievable, dude. Eminem's on it.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre produced a lot of the songs on there.
It was like the album to be on.
It was unbelievable, dude. I literally, I think about that. I have it on my playlist.
Kanye's on it with Dreams.
Dude, it's a fucking unbelievable album. And you're like, what? And then they had their beef, and he's like, I fucking made your album. 50 Cent, like they had their little
right. A lot of that stuff.
But that fucking album's so good.
Yeah, it's a solid album. My top 5 is Jay-Z, Biggie, Nas for sure in the top 3. The other 2 always change for me depending on like where I'm at. Right now, this might blow your mind. Is Guru,
okay,
and Ghostface.
Okay,
I just like Ghostface's flow. For his first 2 albums are incredible.
So I gotta
Supreme Clientele.
I gotta listen to
his second album is fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
I gotta dive into it.
Were you a Wu-Tang fan or no?
I was, but like just like some of their songs I would know about it. And like Ghostface was good. Dude, I loved Old Dirty Bastard.
Yeah,
like his fucking he was great.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, there's a lot of guys, and I always forget that Method Man wasn't in Wu-Tang. Right?
Well, Method Man was a clear star. We talked about me and Moranzio Vance talked about Method Man.
He's great too, though.
How he was like so good on everyone else's album, but like his own albums never really was it.
He's great. Redman is great.
Method Man and Redman, How High? That was a great album, and just their energy. I saw there was like a Jay-Z tour where Method Man and Redman were opening. And they fucking stole the show. They were just so high energy, so just like walking side to side, and you're like,
you know what's hard about the top 5 too is, and we're both forgetting about them, but they're one of the we're forgetting Outkast, like dude, Andre, it could be in people's top 5.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean? But what they did is another thing, like. It's like it needs to
music.
Be recognized.
It's over here. I put
over
in the
there
Kanye.
with the Kanye and the Drake thing.
ATLiens is like that album. Like I love when albums have like a sonic feel. Like that album has like a feel. Same way the Games album has a sonic feel. Like it feels.
Dude, that album's classic.
And the Blueprint was made in 2 weeks, and that's why it captured something. And now music, they take so long, and they're pulling songs, and you can change it forever on the computer, and they don't just like be like, this is what I did in this 2 weeks. Let it out, you know. It doesn't capture a moment in time.
So Wu-Tang was your first rap?
My first rap was actually Young MC.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
On like a cassette. Someone was playing it in like elementary school, and I'm like, what is this? It's like, it just totally blows your mind. I think the first rap album I bought was, I don't even know.
I think mine was Chronic 2001.
Chronic 2001?
Yeah. That's a top album.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely a top album.
It's a top album. It's funny because some of the top albums would not be any of my favorite rappers.
Yeah, that's
fair.
You
have The Game, you have Get Rich or Die Trying. I have Chronic 2001. The Carter 2 to me, till this day, is one of the best albums.
Yeah.
I can't. Marshall Mathers LP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I wonder if I would ever even like fuck with I don't want to get made fun of here, but like even one of Ludacris's albums, like he
albums.
He just like made good music for a second. He made a really good music. Like what was his second album? Not the
Chicken and Beer.
What was the one after that? That one I was fucking good.
I only know his singles. Like I never bought a Ludacris album.
I did because I was in college and I remember liking it. I was like, oh, this one was.
And when you're in college, that's how you get the music.
It was pretty good. It was like, move, bitch, get out the way.
Kanye
like,
production.
Yeah, it was just like the whole album was like, it was just like, it was just good. It was like a good time.
No, Kanye was Stand Up. Stand up. Boom, 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 boom,
yeah, I mean, dude, he had a lot of hits.
Yeah.
He was an entertainer
because he came from radio, so he was a radio personality.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So then he crossed over and did his own album.
Do you think people respect him as a rapper?
I think so. I've never heard anything like, oh, like he's made it. He's an MC first, and we always talk about Slash. He's not like a radio guy he's not like Big Boy who like from the radio who like made a record or something. Like he's definitely. I love talking about people who love talking about rap because it's this thing about knowledge that's not useful in any other situation except for this.
Yeah, but it's also
dying.
It's fascinating to like, because I know there's like, oh, I mean, dude, anytime I do this with people, I always try to remember with other conversations because I've had these conversations so many times, and it never gets old.
No, never gets
old. Because when you do it with someone new, it's like, oh, so what do you think? And then you always learn something new. Like you'll say something, I'm like, oh, I have to listen to him. Like, but then there's also things you forget about, and you're like, man, I did appreciate that. Like I forgot about this album that Kanye produced. Yeah, that was a Common B.
Oh, that's a great album.
That's what I'm saying,
B
dude.
isn't a
you know what I'm saying? Like
album.
I'll listen to that and I'll be like, oh, I forgot about this. And it's like that, dude. First of all, that guy's flow is one of the best. Like
Common?
If this guy just wanted to be like, if he just stayed in rap, who knows what he would have been?
Yeah, now he's an actor / rapper.
It's just like Most Def. Come on, dude. That guy's unbelievably talented.
Yeah.
Like some of his fucking music, I'd be like,
Talib
man,
Kweli.
I wish this guy like made, dude, I fucked with one of his albums one time. Yeah. A lot of these one time, like they had one hit things. Kid Cudi I even fucked with for a little bit about one of his albums.
He was the first hipster rapper.
Is that what he was?
I think it felt like he like changed the game too because
like just a monotone.
Yeah.
He did one with Kanye a couple of years ago.
He was signed to his good music.
Yeah, Kanye made his last one. Who's the other guy that fucked with those guys? Most Def, Talib Kweli, Common. Who's the other guy part of the Kanye crew?
I don't know. Kanye's signed. He's got a good ear for talent too, like signing John Legend and.
You know who another guy I fuck with now? Anderson .Paak.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
Malibu is a great album.
He's fucking good.
Yeah, Mac Miller. Do you fuck with Mac Miller?
I didn't fuck with him, but I knew some of his stuff. Like I remember watching him on YouTube when he had like the Trump song. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Like I was like, he was the first YouTube rapper, right? Pretty much. That's how I found out about him on YouTube. Someone was like, check out this rapper.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's a white rapper, not in mainstream. I mean, he finally hit mainstream right before he died.
Yeah,
but
he made it independently. Like
I remember watching his stuff on YouTube.
Right. I used to work for Rostrum, his label, and like he was the first guy, like the first ever rap album #1 independent.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and then twice.
That's sad.
Like, it was crazy.
That's sad.
Like
that
his fame, like his fans loved his stuff, and he made it like grassroots, ground up, and it was so sad that that's the other part of the game. It's like you get drugs and stuff, and it's just
But that's also something you wouldn't see from old school rappers. They're not killing themselves. They're not emotional like that.
Well, yeah, rap was no emotions. I'm just hard. I fuck all the bitches. Like that.
So that's a new thing.
There's my car. Like that's your album.
That's a new thing. It's just like to think about, not to like say that that's bitch to do that, but
no. Now it's like you got to be sensitive, like Logic and
a little bit. Yeah. Logic. Yeah. Logic's very talented.
Very talented guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's the other guy? Fucking.
A lot of dudes, but we should have a side podcast where we just find other people in their 30s and talk about
I know,
rap.
These 20-year-olds would be like
30s people in rap, and then the audience over time just gets smaller and smaller because everyone keeps dying.
But you know what's funny is then you meet a guy who's like 45 and then he makes you shut the fuck up. He's like, you don't know about this, and you're like, oh,
yeah, and that's how they feel about us. They're like, Curtis Blow was in my top 5. You're like, I don't know.
You don't
really
even know, dude. I was before Tupac, before Biggie. You don't even know anything. You're like,
Yeah. Well, I think we had a really good pod, man. We talked a lot about good stuff. We start with the goals up front where we're going to get you a savings account.
I mean, it's your podcast. I don't know how it goes usually.
This is how it goes. Yeah. So we end up, we have a loose thing. It started off being a bit more like investing, like we would talk about stocks. Like, have you ever done that? Have you ever thought about buying a stock or doing that kind of thing?
Before I moved to LA, when I had a regular job after college, I was like doing sales, and then like I would try to like. I would look and read about stocks, and then I could never find the passion to really get knowledgeable about it. Right. It was too boring for me. So it was like, well, I'm not going to get good at it. Yeah, you're not going to get good at something if you're not into it.
Exactly.
If I would have got into it, fuck, that would have been. I would love to fucking be into stocks. Yeah. Because then I'd be making money.
Yeah. But maybe.
But like I would get knowledgeable about it. I mean, dude, if you spend 40 hours a week, you learn it.
Absolutely.
So,
well, I mean, for you, basically, savings account and some sort of like
savings account.
ETF, like S&P 500, which is like a mix of the market.
Yeah.
So you kind of like buying a piece of the entire stock market without buying any one name.
Gotcha.
So like once you pass the level where like I have too much in my savings, you start putting it in like an ETF.
Sure. So, but in my head, it's like when I start making money.
Or you buy the house.
Then I have my friend who does that, and I'm like, what do I do with this?
That's a very grown up and responsible way to look at it.
Like I have one of my best friends I've known since high school lives out here, and he's
the guy.
An investment, yeah. So it's like, oh well, he'll be the guy.
Well, you're all dialed in.
Yeah, and I have an accountant now, so
I love
like a personal one, but like,
I mean, doesn't everyone? You have to.
A little bit. I think when you start your own corp, like an S corp or something.
You have a loan out for you?
I have an S corp now, so like
nice.
I had to because that merch shit was getting out of hand, and the government comes after you, and you're like, all right, well, how do I save as much as this now? How do I like write off everything off? So you hear about people starting S corp or LLC,
right?
You get tax breaks.
Yeah, and you probably use that when you do like your theater gigs and stuff.
Everything, it goes through there now. But it's just like with that. It's like there's all these things you have to pay, questions. So it's just like, what do I have to do? Now he just
he
emails me. What do I do?
Yeah.
At this point, there's nothing I can do. I owe this. What do I do? You get papers all the time. I don't want to bother with it. If I have to pay $2,000 a year, fine.
Right.
Just like I'm betting on myself. This is what's gonna happen.
I remember listening to an interview with David Cook, and he was like, one of the best things he ever did was when he came to LA. He started his own S corp, whatever, LLC, and he had all the money always flow through him.
Yeah,
and so he money would go to him, then he'd pay his agent, then he'd pay his manager, and he's like that saved him so much money.
Yeah,
and taught him about the business.
Yeah, well, so he's had some crazy financial stories.
He has, but he did. Yeah, he's made it twice, made it once, made it again. So
yeah, I guess
that's the Hollywood story.
I mean, yeah, he's got an interesting story for sure.
Yeah, maybe we'll have him on one day. Thanks so much for coming. You're a good friend.
Fun.
This was fun. And where can people find you?